Today we are going to dive into the world of Stoic philosophy to uncover 10 things that may be quietly dragging you down, keeping you from genuine success, real inner peace, and the life you are capable of living. These invisible obstacles can go unnoticed for years, but they are precisely what determines the quality of your present and the possibilities of your future. What if I told you that Stoicism offers a way to live where these obstacles lose their grip on you? That is the goal of this video, to show you how removing these 10 things from your life can produce meaningful, lasting change. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join a community of people committed to living with purpose and awareness. Now, let's begin. 1. Constantly comparing yourself to others. This pattern is so deeply embedded in our thinking that we often do not even notice how profoundly it shapes our decisions, our emotions, and our sense of self. We compare our achievements, our appearance, our relationships, even our dreams, with the people around us and the carefully curated lives we see on social media. This invisible competition creates the illusion that our own life is somehow insufficient, that we do not measure up to some standard that was never ours to begin with. Have you ever considered that each person has their own unique path? That what looks like success from the outside may mean nothing to the one living it? Stoicism teaches us to focus entirely on our own goals, not on how we appear in other people's eyes. Comparison is a trap. It directs your energy toward things you cannot control, while pulling you away from the only thing that actually matters, your own growth. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you forget to value your own progress and build your own vision. This undermines your confidence and motivation, because there will always be someone who appears more successful or more fortunate. But Stoicism offers something far more useful. Direct your attention toward what you can control: your actions, your decisions, your commitment to moving forward. Here is a simple but powerful daily practice. Ask yourself, what did I do today to become better than I was yesterday? This question redirects your energy from external comparison to internal growth. Remind yourself that everyone moves at their own pace along their own unique path. You are not obligated to meet anyone else's standards. Your achievements matter, regardless of what anyone else is doing. Focus on what is within your control: your effort, your decisions, your persistence. You are not competing with anyone except yourself. When you truly accept this, you will feel something shift, a real inner calm, a freedom from the pressure of measuring yourself against a world that was never the right measuring stick to begin with. 2. Fear of failure. This fear can seem subtle, but it holds enormous power over us. It quietly influences our decisions, limits our possibilities, and keeps us from reaching our true potential. Fear of failure is usually rooted in the desire to avoid pain, shame, or criticism. We resist taking the first step because we do not want to end up in a situation where something goes wrong. But is this fear grounded in reality? Or is it largely an illusion, something that lives in the imagination, not the facts? Imagine standing before an important decision, a new project, an open opportunity, a personal dream. You feel excitement, and then immediately your mind begins painting failure scenarios. That feeling starts pressing against you, pushing you away from the idea before it ever has the chance to become real. Stoicism teaches us to see failure not as an end point, but as an unavoidable part of the path toward growth. No meaningful success has ever arrived without risk. To become better, We must learn to see failure as a teacher, as experience that makes us wiser and more capable. Every failure is a chance to learn something new about yourself, your abilities, and the world around you. It is like training a muscle. With each effort, you grow stronger. But if you keep avoiding the process, your capacity stays limited. One of the foundational Stoic principles is focusing on what you can control. You cannot always control the outcome, but you can always control your effort, your attitude, and your willingness to try. Instead of asking, "What if something goes wrong?" ask yourself, "What can I do to improve my chances? What steps can I take to minimize risk?" And remember, failure does not define you as a person. It is only a temporary obstacle on the way to your goal. Use every opportunity, even when fear is present, as a way to test your strength and climb to a new level. Because fear of failure is simply a signal that you are stepping beyond your comfort zone. And that is exactly where real growth begins. 3. The need to control everything. Many of us believe that by controlling everything around us, we can achieve more and prevent bad outcomes. But the reality is that the obsessive need for control often becomes a serious obstacle to inner peace and genuine development. We live in a constant flow of change. Trying to hold everything in place turns into unrelenting stress. Uncertainty, disruption, and unexpected situations are a natural part of life, and we cannot eliminate them by force of will. Yet instead of accepting this, we spend enormous time and energy fighting the inevitable, trying to bend circumstances that were never ours to govern. Think about how many times you have felt disappointed because something did not go as planned. That desperate grasping at control creates tension whenever reality escapes your grip, leaving you feeling helpless and dissatisfied. Stoicism teaches an important truth. We must learn to distinguish between what is in our hands and what is not. Epictetus reminded his students every day, there are things we can control and things we cannot. One of the deepest forms of wisdom is learning to accept the second and to focus entirely on the first. What does this mean in practice? It means being ready for life's unpredictability and learning to release your grip on what does not depend on you. You cannot control how other people behave, how the economy moves, or what the weather does. But you can always control your own reactions, your choices, and your thoughts. And that is where your genuine power lives. The moment you begin to release the compulsive need to manage everything, part of your stress simply dissolves. You stop worrying about what you cannot change, and you begin focusing your energy on what actually matters. This brings not just inner peace, but real freedom. Because you are no longer consumed by the exhausting attempt to govern what was never yours to govern. If you find value in this kind of content, a like and a comment go a long way. They help this video reach more people who need it. Let's continue. 4. Self-pity. This is one of the most insidious obstacles, because it moves quietly and feels almost justified. It emerges whenever we face difficulty, disappointment, or injustice. Our mind begins to circle around how everything seems to be working against us. And once we enter that place, it becomes very hard to leave. Self-pity is like a trap, easy to fall into, difficult to climb out of. When you begin pitying yourself, a sense of helplessness emerges, a feeling that you are powerless before circumstances, that life is somehow uniquely unfair to you. This keeps you looking for sympathy rather than solutions. You get stuck in complaints and blame, while the thing that actually needs to change goes untouched. What makes self-pity truly dangerous is that it removes your sense of responsibility for your own life. You begin to believe you cannot change anything because everything is against you. And this belief can become the primary obstacle to success and inner peace. You stop acting because you have convinced yourself that your efforts will lead nowhere. Stoicism, however, teaches us to take full responsibility for everything that happens in our lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we always have a choice in how we respond to our circumstances, even when a situation seems deeply unfair or painful. Only we decide whether we allow it to break us, or whether we use it as an opportunity to grow. What can you do right now to begin releasing this weight? First, stop seeing yourself as a victim. Recognize that difficulty is part of every human life. You are not alone in facing hard things. Second, shift your focus from the problem to the solution. Ask yourself, what can I do to improve this situation? Even the smallest step in the right direction can begin to shift your reality. Remember, complaining about your circumstances will not change them, but choosing to accept them as a challenge and acting gives you genuine authority over your own life. 5. Materialism. In the modern world, materialism has become something close to a cultural ideology. We are caught in the relentless pursuit of new things: phones, cars, clothes, and each promises quick satisfaction. But does that satisfaction last? Or do we simply become prisoners of our own desires, where every new purchase brings only temporary relief before the emptiness returns? Materialism is a trap the modern world has constructed with extraordinary skill. And while there is nothing wrong with wanting a certain level of comfort, the question is, how far are you willing to go in that pursuit, and at what cost? The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius and Seneca in particular, consistently reminded their students that external things do not bring genuine happiness. Why? Because they are temporary. Today you have one thing, tomorrow you want more. It is an endless cycle that leaves no room for peace. Instead of searching for happiness in things, Stoicism invites us to focus on what is internal, on developing character, on deepening relationships, on genuine spiritual growth. Material goods can make life more comfortable, but they cannot fill you from within. In fact, they distract you from what actually matters. If we allow materialism to govern our decisions, we lose the capacity to find genuine joy in the real moments of life. We become dependent on the external rather than the internal. The Stoics understood happiness does not come from outside, it comes from within. The first step toward releasing this obstacle is a simple but honest recognition. Real wealth is not measured by how much you possess. It is measured by how capable you are of being genuinely happy without the accumulation of more. True richness is inner freedom. 6. Unhealthy habits. They may seem minor, inconsequential. But over time, unhealthy habits become a heavy burden that quietly and steadily erodes your health, your energy, and your capacity to live fully. It could be overeating, excessive alcohol, smoking, a sedentary lifestyle, or simply the chronic neglect of physical movement. We grow so accustomed to these habits that we no longer notice them governing our days. The Stoics, Seneca in particular, placed enormous emphasis on self-control and moderation. They understood that discipline and authority over yourself open the path to genuine inner freedom. Health is our most precious resource. When we neglect it in exchange for short-term pleasures, we shrink our possibilities and limit our potential. Unhealthy habits are often accompanied by justifications. Just this once. I'll start tomorrow. I deserve this. But this road leads only to perpetual postponement. The result is chronic fatigue, absent energy, and a quiet but persistent erosion of emotional and mental well-being. If we want genuine inner peace and physical harmony, we have to break this cycle. Replace one harmful habit with something that genuinely serves you. A short walk instead of an evening on the couch. A nourishing choice instead of a reflexive one. As the Stoics said, every moment is a new chance to change. And the best moment to start is now. The first step towards releasing this obstacle is honest awareness of how it is actually affecting your life. Only then can you transform your weaknesses into strength and rise to a new level of physical and mental resilience. 7. Anger and resentment. These emotions can feel entirely natural, even justified, when someone hurts us or treats us unfairly. But in reality, they are among the most significant enemies of our peace and harmony. Anger and resentment do not just damage inner calm. They carry real consequences for our physical and psychological health. When we allow these emotions to take over, we effectively hand our energy and our sense of control to the person who upset us. It is like a slow poison that spreads through the system, quietly undermining well-being from the inside. The Stoics, and many of the wisest figures in history, saw anger and resentment as signs of weakness and misunderstanding. Seneca observed that anger is a brief madness, one that drives us toward actions we later regret. When we allow ourselves to be consumed by it, we not only cause ourselves suffering, we build walls that block genuine relationships and honest communication. Rather than giving in to anger or holding on to grievances, Stoicism teaches a more intelligent path, self-control and deliberate response. The next time you feel anger rising, stop and ask yourself, is this situation genuinely worth my energy? Are there other ways to understand what happened, ways that do not harm my inner harmony? Practice forgiveness and genuine understanding. This does not mean accepting behavior that violated you. It means freeing yourself from the emotional chains that keep you anchored in the past and blocking your own growth. Direct your energy towards self-improvement instead of resentment, because your peace is yours to protect. Release anger and resentment, and you open the door to genuine inner freedom. 8. The addiction to comfort. In our modern world, where access to ease and convenience has never been greater, the temptation to seek only comfort and avoid all friction is deeply present. But this tendency can become a serious obstacle to real growth and genuine achievement. Comfort, without question, plays an important role in daily life. But when we become too attached to it, stagnation follows. Real growth and meaningful accomplishment come precisely through facing difficulty and working through challenge. When you leave your comfort zone, you place new demands on yourself. Demands that force you to adapt, to develop, to become more capable. Without this process, your possibilities stay narrow, and you miss the chance to become more fully yourself. Instead of avoiding difficulty, try accepting it as part of your development. Allow yourself to face new challenges and unfamiliar experiences, even when they are uncomfortable or inconvenient. Remember, genuine success and real inner peace are almost always found beyond the borders of what is easy. That is where you become who you are capable of being. 9. The absence of clear goals and plans. Without clearly defined objectives, life can turn into a kind of drift, an aimless wandering through days that feel busy but go nowhere meaningful. The absence of clear direction scatters your efforts and costs you time, making it difficult to build anything that genuinely matters. Without clear goals, you can begin to feel like a ship without a rudder, moving but toward nothing specific. This can produce real frustration and a quiet sense of hopelessness, because without direction, there is no way to know what action is actually needed. Stoicism teaches the importance of inner discipline and mental clarity. To overcome this obstacle, begin by identifying what genuinely matters to you and what you actually want to achieve. Formulate your goals with clarity and specificity. Not a vague "be successful," but concrete, measurable targets. Learn a new skill, complete a project, improve your health in a specific way. Build a plan of action that helps you reach these goals, and review your progress regularly. Clear goal setting provides focus and motivation, helps you navigate your life, and gives each day a sense of direction. Every step you take toward your goals moves you closer to both success and genuine inner peace. Do not be afraid to set ambitious goals and pursue them with persistence. This is what allows you to realize your potential and live with genuine intention. 10. Irregular self-discipline. The undeniable power of self-discipline is the foundation of everything worth building. But inconsistency in practice, failing to maintain healthy habits and daily structure, quietly undermines your development and holds you back from the growth you are capable of. Imagine trying to grow a garden. If you do not water the plants regularly, do not tend them with care, do not give them what they need, you will not get the harvest you are hoping for. The same is true for your habits, your character, and your life. Stoicism teaches that discipline is the foundation of a successful and harmonious life. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "No one becomes good or wise without consistent effort and practice." Without regularity, even the right habits produce only partial results. Lasting success requires consistency, not occasional intensity. To overcome this obstacle, build a plan for regular self-improvement and commit to it. Create a schedule that carves out time for what genuinely matters. Use practices that support your consistency: journaling, clear deadlines, honest self-assessment. Focus on your priorities and protect the space you have given them. Be patient and persistent in your effort. There is no point in expecting instant results from a process that rewards steady work. Consistent discipline, even in small things, builds the capacity for large things. And that steady, cumulative effort is the most direct path to the inner peace and genuine success you are building toward. Dear viewers, we have explored all 10 obstacles that Stoic philosophy asks us to examine honestly and release with courage. From self-comparison and the fear of failure to unhealthy habits and inconsistent discipline, each one is a weight you are allowed to put down. Remember, change always begins with us. Releasing these patterns will not only improve your ability to handle difficulty, it will give you the tools to live more consciously, more freely, and more fully. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on the bell so you never miss new content. Share your thoughts in the comments. Which of these 10 things are you ready to release? Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.